Hello, my name is Vince Cerf. I'm Google's Chief Internet Evangelist, and it's a special pleasure for me to offer my congratulations to Dave Piscitello on his receipt of the Mary Litynski Award. I have to tell you, Dave was always my go-to guy when I had questions about how do I make this thing more secure or safer, or what do I need to teach other people in order to protect themselves, or what changes should I make in a hardware complement, an architecture. Dave was the guy that I always would go to, and he would figure out how to solve that problem. So it's very clear that he is extremely deserving of this recognition. Dave, to you, congratulations. The net wouldn't be the same without you. And I hope you'll keep contributing, as you have for decades now, to the well-being and safety of the internet. It's made the world better for all of us, and frankly, as you and I both know, there's still a lot of work to do. So after you're done partying, back to work. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Dave Piscitello, and I want to thank you for selecting me to receive the 2019 Mary Litynski Award. My time at ICANN was really a right time, right place, right individual to work for scenario. It turns out that Steve Crocker recruited me to join the Security Stability and Advisory Committee, and that was in 2005. Steve wanted someone who understood technology, who understood security, and who was a good writer. And about a year into the work, I started to wonder why I'd come, because we weren't talking about security in the context that I was familiar. Well, I wanted to understand, how the domain name system was being abused and how we could fix that. We weren't covering a lot of that, so I decided that my role at ICANN should be to change the narrative. Changing the narrative was not trivial. Changing the narrative involved disrupting the multi-stakeholder consensus policy process, which is in many cases a lot of attorneys running interference for their organizations, or outright obstructionism. There's a lot of good that's done, but we all know that there's an awful lot that could be done that doesn't get done because it's not in the best interest of the people who are making a lot of money off the DNS and the domain name system.
Well, it's time to honor Dave Piscitello, and an excellent choice for this year. I've had the pleasure of knowing Dave for close to 30 years. We met at a ARPANET celebration in Los Angeles, and we've worked together in multiple ways. I was his customer when he was at Belcor. I've attended his seminars when he was teaching. And when he became available to assist us at ICANN, I grabbed him quickly, and he's made a huge impact in many years at ICANN. He's got both an extraordinarily strong sense of what's right versus what's wrong, and he is one angry guy. He is just full of energy, and he focuses it, and it's that focused anger and intention to make things better that is the part that just makes him very special. All of us have benefited from his many efforts and attentions to problems that beset us, and you couldn't ask for somebody who is better suited for the problems of the day that we have. So I congratulate you all on having selected an excellent choice this year. Thank you.
I think I and some of my colleagues in my Security, Stability, and Resiliency group were instrumental in forcing DNS abuse into the ICANN narrative. It's now perhaps one of the hottest topics every meeting. We were also instrumental in bringing law enforcement to the table in negotiations, engaging them with the ICANN community so that people understood DNS abuse and understood the impact on the public safety. And through those interactions, what I discovered was that law enforcement had a very, very strong appetite for understanding the technology. And each meeting, I would get a handful of law enforcement agents asking me if I would spend 15, 20, 30 minutes an hour talking about the DNS, talking about registration services, explaining the tech. That evolved to a law enforcement training program that took me all over the world to various national law enforcement locations in Europe, Central Europe, Eastern Europe, Asia, Pacific, South America, and Africa. So the ability to deliver training to increase the number of boots on the ground in law enforcement was a really, really important part of my career at ICANN, and the part that I was most committed to.
Dave, congratulations on winning the Mary Litynski Award. As I'm sure you've heard by now, this award recognizes someone's lifetime work, lifetime achievement to make the internet safer. And I can't think of a better recipient than yourself for such an award. Speaking back from my days in the FBI and in law enforcement, I can say that you've done so much to educate us on how DNS works, on how ICANN works, and how the internet works. And you were always happy and willing to go out of your way to help us understand those things. And you are recognized on the international front as well, Dave. I know when I travel around the world, I'm always bumping into people who know the name Dave Piscitello. So, Dave, thank you for all that you've done for the community, all that you've done for us who are fighting cybercrime to make us better cybercrime fighters, and really everything you're doing to keep the internet safe. Thanks and congratulations.
The other accomplishment that I hope is going to endure is reporting abuse. One of the things that was so frustrating so many times in ICANN meetings was to have parties accuse law enforcement of making things up, accusing operations security of making things up. So they would say, well, where's your evidence? So as a skunkworks project, some of us at ICANN put together, and I ended up being a project lead for what was called the Domain Abuse Reporting System. And that was a unique system that was able to provide historical data on every GTLD and every registrar from the end of November 2016 to present. There's a lot of really interesting insights that the entire world could actually benefit from seeing, and I truly hope that that data actually comes to the public eye soon. If it doesn't, I'm pretty certain that I can rebuild it. I wanted now to sort of segue to talking a little bit about what keeps me up at night, and I'm really pleased that you've given me the opportunity to speak, that you didn't choose to give me this award posthumously. So what keeps me up at night? Right now, privacy rights, data protections, and public safety. I think any of you who have spent any time as cyber investigators or in many other capacities, looking at the changes since the European Union adopted the General Data Protection Regulation, are feeling the pain of having privacy protections interfere with legitimate, lawful purposed investigation activity. And so there's a disconnect here. We are more or less throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're adopting privacy and data protections, but we're doing it at the sacrifice of public safety. Without the ability to identify actors to their actions, we're blindfolded. So one of the things I want to try to work on over the next few years is to convince people that we need legislation that doesn't trade one harm off for another. How do we do that? We have to go as private actors to the legislators, to ministers of parliament, to Congress, to data protection officers, and we have to explain how we work. We have to explain why we work the way we do, why we need access to the information that that may be personal data, and we have to convince them that we're not vigilantes, that we're not third parties who are using this commercially, but that we are first and ongoing responders, and that we are part of a critical community that mitigates threats and provides for the public safety. This is going to require us to spend more time with law enforcement, They already believe in the public-private partnerships. They appreciate the role that we play. We now need to work with them and help create a dialogue that allows them to evangelize what we do and to underscore that we are trustworthy, to underscore that, that what we do is necessary and important. We're also going to have to learn to change a little bit in the process. We operate within trusted collaboration communities. We may have to be more transparent. Governments are going to have to be more transparent. We're both going to have to be more accountable. It's going to be a very, very interesting period for us, but we all have to adjust because there's so much at stake. In addition to legislation, we all have to be very careful to pay attention to policies that are adopted to comply with legislation. There are many things that create impedances to having clear policy. One of them, of course, is industry capture. We see this in several communities. We can't have parties who claim to be part of a consensus environment dominating. They can't be like Congress, easily swaying people with lobbying. We have to promote, for example, a different way of thinking in the domain world. There's a phrase on quality domain lifecycle that I think we need to embrace. We need to convince people who are running top-level domains and registries that it's better to have a smaller but abuse-free TLD. It's more profitable. We have to go and give them the, numbers and figures and data that show that, and show them how to do that. We also have to continue publishing data like DAR, and even more of it, and it has to become more and more public. We have to put it in consumable forms for legislators and for policymakers. I want to thank you for this award. I want to thank you for your trust and confidence and friendship over the years. I want to thank you for including me in this amazing community of folks who work behind the scenes.